High Commander Zapdos laughed at the small army gathered against his forces until he realized those were human soldiers. In the capital city of Thea, a tense standoff unfolded between the reptilian warriors of the Zolorian Empire and a small force of human soldiers. The humans had been providing humanitarian aid to the oppressed Thean people, who languished under the brutal boot of their Zolorians overlords. Now the Zolorians intended to end the humans' meddling. High Commander Zapdos landed in the heart of the city with a cohort of heavily armed elite troopers. The 8-foot reptilian warlord strutted across the plaza, amused by the 5,000 human soldiers assembled before him. The humans, clutching primitive kinetic weapons, huddled behind light-armored vehicles, while the Zolorians wielded advanced plasma rifles, hovered in menacing battle tanks, and filled the skies with weaponized gunships. Zapdos pointed at the human commander, Neil Hendricks, and spat, "Withdraw now, Earther scum, or stay and be annihilated. This is your only warning." Hendricks met the alien's glare with flinty eyes. "We're not going anywhere, lizard. The occupation of Thea ends today, one way or another. I suggest you get back on your ships while you still can." The Zolorian officers behind Zapdos laughed at the human's audacity. Zapdos hissed, "Your survivors will make excellent slaves. You have 1 hour to leave." He turned with a snap of his cape, chuckling all the way. The Zolorians boasted about which Thean females they would rape first after their assured victory over the pitiful human forces. But Commander Hendricks and his soldiers had no intention of abandoning the Thean people. The humans knew they were outmatched and outgunned, yet they were the only hope Thea had left. They prepared to fight to the bitter end. This battle would be humanity's introduction to the stars, and it had to be a resounding triumph. The Zolorians would soon discover that underestimating humans was the worst mistake they could make. As the hour expired, Commander Hendricks gathered his troops. "Listen up, men," he began. "These Zolorian bastards want to fight? We'll give them one they won't forget." The soldiers checked their weapons one final time, loaded fresh magazines into their rifles, and whispered prayers. Hendricks keyed his radio. "Zapdos, this is Commander Hendricks. We will not comply with your ultimatum. If you want this planet, you're going to have to come and take it." Zapdos snarled over the comlink. "You fool. You have just doomed yourself and your pathetic band of primitives to a painful death. When I'm done with you, I will hang your corpse from the ruins of your capital city." "Come and get us, you scaly son of a bitch," Hendricks replied coldly. As the deadline arrived, the Zolorian forces advanced on the human perimeter. Zapdos, smugly watching from his command tank, ordered his armored units to open fire, expecting to blast the human positions to rubble. Instead, the human lines erupted with blinding muzzle flashes and deafening roars. Hyper-accelerated kinetic rounds tore through the Zolorian vehicles, liquefying the crews inside. The humans had concealed rail cannons and Gauss rifles, not ordinary slug throwers. Hendricks grinned savagely and gave the order, "All call signs, weapons free, let them have it, boys." Human artillery and mortars opened up from concealed positions, raining fiery destruction on the Zolorian rear echelon. The Zolorian advance faltered and collapsed as the remnants of their lead elements threw their vehicles into reverse, desperate to get out of the kill zone. Zapdos howled with rage, watching his unstoppable armored spearhead disintegrate. He had underestimated these Earthers, a mistake he did not intend to repeat. The Zolorians regrouped for another assault, but the humans were already on the move. Camouflage netting was thrown back to reveal Humvees mounting quad-linked anti-tank missiles and power-armored infantry armed with shoulder-fired rockets. The hunter was about to become the hunted. Inside his mobile command post, Zapdos roared at his subordinates, demanding answers. His intelligence had reported humans as a primitive species, yet their advanced weaponry was overwhelming Zolorian armor. Zapdos redirected his reserves to hit the human flanks and ordered his gunships into the air. As the Zolorian gunships approached, human man-portable air defense teams took aim. A volley of anti-air missiles streaked into the sky, destroying the gunships. Zapdos watched in disbelief as his air support plummeted from the sky. The human artillery shifted their aim, saturating the landing zones of his reserve forces with deadly accuracy. The Zolorian reinforcements scattered before they could even join the fight. Zapdos vowed to bathe in human blood before the day was done. He regrouped his forces for another assault. But the humans, using adaptive camouflage, infiltrated Zolorian lines and planted demolition charges on anti-air guns and missile batteries. As the charges detonated, the Zolorian defenses were thrown into chaos. Special Forces troopers materialized out of the smoke and flames, cutting down Zolorian soldiers with suppressed rifles. Colonel Arbok, the senior surviving Zolorian officer, barked orders to his troops, trying to salvage the deteriorating situation. But the human forces surged forward, snipers picking off Zolorian officers and heavy gunners, infantry advancing and bounding Overwatch, and human armor cutting off the Zolorian retreat. A Zolorian platoon, cut off and surrounded, attempted to surrender but then ambushed the humans. Sergeant Myhawk ordered no more surrenders to be accepted, treating any further Zolorian treachery with lethal force. As the battle raged on, Ambassador Margot protested the execution of prisoners, but Commander Hendricks stood firm. With respect, Madam Ambassador, this is war. I'll accept Zapdos' formal surrender when the time comes, but until then, we do this my way. The Zolorian forces fell back to a hilltop position, hoping to hold out until reinforcements arrived. Commander Hendricks' Special Forces teams eliminated the Zolorian anti-air defenses, allowing human air support to rain guided munitions on the Zolorian armored vehicles. The human ground forces advanced relentlessly, tanks and IFVs leading the charge, infantry leapfrogging from cover to cover. General Draco, leading the Zolorian reinforcements, ordered his forces to charge forward. But human aircraft with vector thrust engines performed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. Guided bombs destroyed Zolorian vehicles, and the human fighters picked off the transports one by one. The Zolorian reinforcements were annihilated, and the remaining Zolorian soldiers on the ground watched in horror as their last hope of escape vanished. The human forces secured victory, but at a high cost. The dead and wounded lay everywhere. Commander Hendricks ordered the disarming and detention of Zolorian prisoners, treating any wounded but maintaining a strict guard. The Zolorians, having violated the laws of war, would answer for their crimes. Sergeant Myhawk reported that the Zolorian fleet had retreated, securing orbital supremacy. Hendricks knew the Zolorians would be back with new weapons and strategies, but humanity had proven itself as a force to be reckoned with. As the human soldiers tended to their wounded and secured the battlefield, a young Thean girl approached Hendricks, thanking him for saving her people. She handed him a lovely flower, a reminder of the innocence they fought to protect. Neil Hendricks, weary but resolute, knew the road ahead would be long and bloody. The Zolorians would return, but humanity would be ready. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human, and they would continue to fight to protect the innocent and preserve hope in a galaxy consumed by darkness.